What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Deaths of the Asia. I wanted to jump on here tonight and talk about the situation that transpired on $1 million worth of game with the host Gilly the Kid and Wallow. They had the Prince family on their latest episode, and it sparked a lot of controversy. Of course, they were on there trying to clear their names. Trying to shed some light on the situation that happened in Houston, where Takeoff from the rap group Migos unfortunately lost his life. The way that show started off let you know that something wasn't right. Anytime you have to start a show and you have to give a disclaimer, that lets you know something ain't right and you should have went with your first mind. In the beginning of the show, Gilly the Kid starts off talking about how he was hesitant about doing an interview with the Prince family. The thing that made him comfortable with doing the interview with the Prince family is that he talked to P, who owns QC, Quality Control, which is the label that the Migos are signed under, right? My thing is this. I don't care that you talk to P. P is not a family member of Takeoff. Did you get any clearance with the family? Those are the people who matter. It's almost like it's a disregard, and I know this is actually not the case, but just from an optical standpoint, just from how it looks, it's almost kind of like, okay, it doesn't matter what the family thinks about this, as long as we have the people of power such as P, as long as we got the approval from the record label, then we could go ahead and run this interview. And I think with that thought process surrounding it, it could be insensitive to like his mother, his sister, and other members of the family, right? But anyway, they went along with the interview, so there's neither here nor there. The interview, I would say it wasn't something that I would say was bad. The beginning of the interview, I could definitely understand because there has been a lot of rumors, a lot of different clips, 2 to 3 minute clips and everything that been on the internet, and people have run wild with it. So I don't have a problem with the Prince family actually coming up on a platform and clearing their name. But Jay Prince done had several interviews. How many times are you going to talk about this before a family member actually come out? Because at this point, you in the court of public opinion. Let the real courts actually deal with this, because it's too much speculation going on. People who believe what they believe, they're gonna believe what they want to believe, regardless of what it is that you say. And quiet as it's kept, there is this dark cloud over the Prince family, as if they extort people, or you got to check in with them, and you know they probably they could be shysty and things like that. I don't know that to be true. The people who are on the outside looking in don't know that to be true, but that's the reputation that they actually have. So with having that reputation, and you end up in a situation where people are hanging around you and they end up losing their lives, whether it has something to do with you or not, because you're a part of their environment and they are with you, and the name that your family, or the reputation that your family already carries, people are going to automatically assume that it's some type of bad blood there, right? So constantly doing these interviews, it's not going to do anything. My best advice when it comes to something like this is to just lay low and let it blow over, because really and truly, nobody is really talking about the details of the Takeoff um shooting or anything like that, for us to be getting an interview about it right now, right? I will say that Wallow did a really good job with carrying the interview. He asked all of the good questions. He kept it real. He wasn't scared to ask things. I will go on record to say that what Jay Prince and the guys were saying on the interview, their story is believable. You know, I never thought that it was a thing where they were trying to set up Quavo or do something to Takeoff, and I ain't never get buy into that. So this is not a show about trying to condemn them and make them responsible for this man's death, because at the end of the day, the only person who is responsible for his death is the one that pulled the trigger. That's it. And the guy, those guys that were into it, and he got caught in the crossfire. That's it. So we gonna place the blame where the blame need to be placed. I just didn't like the fact that at this point in time they're having this particular interview, and Gilly knew it was kind of sketchy because he had to give a disclaimer at the beginning of the interview. Now, this is the reason why I decided that I needed to come on here and talk about this, right? Everything going good in the interview. Everybody making good points. As always, Gilly and Wallow, they dropping game. They throwing jewels out there. Jay Prince, he dropping some gems and everything. Cool. They about to wrap up the interview. They at the end of the interview. So Gilly says, is there anything that y'all would like to say? Basically, y'all got something to say in closing. Who was it on there? Was it Junior? It's Junior, Mike, whatever. They said whatever they needed to say. I think they conducted themselves well. They said what they needed to say. Then here comes Jay Prince. Oh yeah, I don't want to keep out, and this I'm paraphrasing. I don't want to keep out Offset. So I'm thinking he finna say something, heartfelt. He started talking about how he got word about the type of energy and the things that Offset has been saying. Basically, Offset is doing too much, and he got too much to say when he wasn't really in Takeoff's life at the time of his passing. First of all, you supposed to be an OG. You supposed to be a gangster, right? Why in the hell are you going off of hearsay? Why are you talking about that's that fake ass bravado? You know what I'm saying? That fake ass sense of superiority. Yeah, I got ears in the street, and I know people that know people, and the people done told me that you had been saying some foul stuff, so I feel like I need to address you. What's gangster about that? You get what I'm saying? What's gangster about you addressing this man based on something that you heard? You ain't spoke to Offset about it. You ain't pick up the phone. Hey, I heard this. I want to know if it's true or not. I know that you're dealing with a lot of emotions. I know that your family member was, with my people when he lost his life and everything. So I can understand you being upset and feeling like we had to do something with it. I want to let you know we ain't have nothing to do with that. I ain't got no bad blood with you. I understand, young man. I understand how you feel. I get it. That's how he, as an OG, that's how you supposed to approach that. You, Jay Prince, 60 something, 50, late 50s or 60 something years old, sending out cautionary messages to Takeoff, telling him basically, you need to watch what you say because it's not going to be healthy for you. That's a threat. And it's not necessary. I ain't heard Takeoff saying, I ain't heard Offset say nothing about them people in a negative light. So what is all of that about? And that takes me back to what I said in the beginning, that it's like they have a disregard for the actual family. For this man to be mourning the loss of his relative, and for you to be on here sending shots to him, threats to him, basically threatening his life, that's not cool. And let me tell you something, as far as his relationship with Takeoff prior to his passing, that's in the family. Family get into it all the time. I could go and fight my sister right now and be mad at her and don't talk to her about 2-3 weeks, but you better not say nothing to her. You better not do nothing to her. That's how it is in family. We already know that. Just because these people got an issue, that's between them. That's family business. To this day, we still don't know the reason why there was some friction between Takeoff, Quavo, and Offset. We don't know any details of that. They kept it quiet. They kept it in the family. They upheld the integrity of their family, if nothing else. I'm sure they mama's name was in their ear and was like, you know what? I know y'all upset with each other, but y'all keep it in house. That's how you do that. Family, they gonna get into it. But just because they into it, that don't mean that Offset is not gonna be hurt if something happens to one of them. Even people were saying TMZ had dropped a video talking about supposedly Offset and Quavo got into a fight last night backstage during the Grammys, and people was trying to make that a point. Even if they did get in a fight backstage in the Grammys, which that's still just speculation, we don't know that to be true or not. Offset came out and said that it wasn't true, so I'm gonna go by what the man said about his mouth. Even if let's just say it did happen, let's just say Quavo and Offset did get into a fight. That's family fighting, right? That doesn't mean you get to get in and jump in and attack one of them. That's within that family. So I really didn't like that, and I feel as though Jay Prince, he done got to the point where he be doing stuff for clout, if you ask me. Like the fear factor that Jay Prince used to have and all this respect that he be talking about. What people don't understand, folks be talking about they so gangster, but what makes a person, what makes people have a certain level of respect and a certain fear is mystique. You know, it was a point in time where you didn't know how Jay Prince was moving. You didn't know his opinion on different things. As far as we concerned, he was the Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? Not saying it like really saying he's the Illuminati, but you know that entity that you really don't have access to. You think it exists, you scared of it, you respect it, but you have no access to it. You don't know what's next. It was the mystique about the Prince family that had people, you know, kind of making sure they act accordingly, right? Now that is gone. The fourth wall has been broken. And it has gotten to the point that Jay Prince, it seems like he still wants to be that guy and he still wants to, you know, hang on to that particular reputation or whatever. And instead of him mixing himself with the younger people and just telling them something good, he jumping in all of their drama. He act like he the Farrakhan of the hip hop community, like Al Sharpton or somebody. He up in there with them at this particular point because every time something go on with these guys, these grown men, he jumping in, giving a detailed report about what happened, and you weren't even on the scene. So everything Jay Prince getting on the internet talking about is hearsay. You weren't at the party when the shooting happened, so these people have to tell you what happened. Yet you sitting on $1 million worth of game, being a spokesperson, trying to clear the name. No, those guys, your boys, they are grown men. They were there. They are your legacy that you passed down. Put them into position. Let them speak for themselves and explain what happened. You don't need to be jumping in trying to save the day and clear the name. Those are your kids. They need to come in and speak for themselves and clear the name and make sure their father's legacy is intact. You don't have to sit in every time and push your weight around because that's all it is, because those boys' name don't ring like Jay Prince. So to still kind of like implement that fear factor, you know what I'm saying? He want to sit in the middle of everything and have something to say. At this point, you just gossiping to me because you ain't never there. Only thing you could speak on is what you heard. That's not gangster to me. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like at that point, when you are constantly being a spokesperson and you carrying a bone and you talking about what you done heard, you letting people put a battery in your back. At that point, you're no longer an OG. You a puppet at this point because you letting these people put a battery in your back. You speaking up for everybody about everything, and then you could be dead wrong and you don't even know it. At this point, you the sent out. Everybody else could hide behind, oh, that's Jay Prince. And they ain't got to confront the situations that they put themselves in. All this trying to sit in for them and speak for them or whatever, that's not teaching them any accountability for real. That's letting them know, daddy always got your back and that's cool, but you got to let these men be men. And it ain't about men being men just in a business sense. It's in a character building sense as well. At some point, you got to step back and let them handle what they need to handle and stay out of all of these young nigga shit. Every time something go on or whatever the case may be, here comes Jay Prince. He got something to say. And this younger generation don't revered Jay Prince like our generation did. You get what I'm saying? So they just looking at it, this old nigga here, you know what I'm saying? Like trying to tell me something, you threatening me, this, that, and the third. Come on now. He didn't have to go there. It was pointless for him to go there. There was no reason at all. And then when Offset responded, he wasn't nasty about it. He just responded to him like a man. Like, you out here talking about I'm saying this and I'm saying that, but you ain't hit me up and hollered at me to see if any of this is true. But yeah, you speaking on it as if it's a fact. And you ain't the only people that know people. And this and the thing that pissed me off with Gilly and Wallow is those interviews are pre-recorded. You could have cut that out. You know what I'm saying? If you knowing y'all came up on here and y'all want to talk about peace and mending the bridges and making everything right and shedding light on the situation and getting the business clear, then y'all should have cut that out, because that one number, some unnecessary drama, something else to talk about where we're too far removed from what really happened and what really matters. And we sitting up here, oh, now Jay Prince, now this is another layer of BS. We already have to deal with people thinking that Quavo was being set up. So that's already one conspiracy. How is you helping? How did you, everything that he said prior in the interview, now he just shattered that. They had a pretty good interview, if you ask me. And he went and said that. So now it makes people side eye you again. It's not, it didn't help. It didn't help. It was something that we didn't need. It was unnecessary. Jay Prince need to get somewhere and sit down, quit having interviews. We're not asking for it. Let them people in the court system do what it is that they need to do in this case. I don't know if the case is still, I think the case is still open. What gangster nigga sit and talk about open cases? When they start doing that? When they start doing that, y'all let me know. Usually, when it's an open case and you got anybody that's from the streets and it's an open case and they on a public platform and they being asked questions as it pertains to that case, he got them folks reading. He had Gilly reading inserts from the police report and everything. Usually, if it's an open case, what they'll say, I can't speak on it right now. It's a case still pending. But here he go. He want to run down and tell everything or whatever. The prosecutor's gonna do what the prosecutor's gonna do. The investigators gonna do what the investigators gonna do. You getting on all of this hearsay, word of mouth, trying to clear up an image or whatever. It ain't for the legal part. It's for us. Because them people down there at that courtyard, they gonna do what it is that they need to do as far as the case and the investigation go. All that other stuff, it's based on how we feel about them. And I mean, you're supposed to be the Prince family. Like, why do you care so much? You know what I'm saying? What the people thinking, if you know this not true, is just not true. Now, I do know that it's something heavy, like coming on, like I said, once again, coming on and being like, listen, like I like the fact that who was it, Junior? He was like, no, we were with, I stayed with Quavo. Like I went to the hospital with Quavo. That's good information to know. Like after you know what I'm saying, you don't put that out there, I have no reason to disbelieve him. After he explained the reason why you see in the video where it looked like he's passing Takeoff body, I have no reason to disbelieve him. We all know how the internet works. You get stuff in a couple of clips or whatever. I have no reason to disbelieve what that man said. You know what I'm saying? He ain't, what he was saying, what they were saying, they didn't sound like they were lying to me. But that part don't matter. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't about that no more. At this point in time, it's just all about respect. And when I say respect, it ain't about this street code, street cred, none of that. I'm so sick and tired of black folks talking about the streets and all of that. It's about respecting that boy's family, respecting Takeoff's family. That's when I talk about respect. Some things just be too soon, and some people just do way, way too much. I am highly disappointed. In Gilly, and I'm disappointed in Wallow because it's part of his show as well. But Wallow, he did a good job. They did a good job in the interview. I just feel as though that last part, if nothing else, they should have clipped it. Cause it ain't did nothing but started more drama. And I don't think that was the intent. But why Jay Prince are you going on these platforms ringing an alarm? Why? Because guess what? Just the same way you was in your bed that night when that shooting happened, that y'all not say that this type of stuff don't happen under your watch, and you was in the bed sleeping and your sons was out in the street. It's gonna be another time where your sons are out in the street. This situation should let you know that nobody is invincible. So you sitting up here ringing an alarm, whereas your sons have to be, now they finna have to deal with something else because they daddy done sit up here and had a slip of the tongue and addressing folks and threatening folks about something that you're not gonna personally do yourself. So why in the hell are you threatening other people when you need some troops to go handle what it is that you feel like is something that's gonna be unhealthy for Offset? It makes no sense to me. It was unnecessary, and I hate that it happened the way that it happened. But it did, and we just have to deal with the reality of the situation. Based on what Jay Prince was saying about the guy that was with Offset and Takeoff, that pretty much sparked everything. It seems as though the innocent people who has nothing to do with anything, they always be the one that end up being a casualty in a situation. And Takeoff did not deserve that. And then based on what was said, it shouldn't have even been anything to escalate with pistols getting drawn and all that. But the same way that silly dude pulled out that gun or whatever he did to spark a shooting, it's no different what Jay Prince did on that interview. You inciting stuff by doing that. You might not be waving a weapon, but your tongue is one. How the hell did this situation flip into let's everybody get mad at Offset? Offset ain't did nothing to nobody. Offset wasn't there. Offset had to hear about this. Should nobody be mad at Offset? How you get mad at this man? And it's a deflection. It's like, oh, okay, well, we know that him and Offset had a problem, so let's go over and into this angle. No, you can't blame anything on Offset, and Offset has a right to be mad about the situation. He does. Now, if he was saying something wild and reckless, I mean, that's understandable considering the situation. But that's when you actually use your OG status and you pull that brother to the side and you have a conversation with him. All those empty threats, that's not cool. We not doing that. We not having that. I'm gonna still continue to watch $1 Million Worth of Game. That's one of my favorite podcasts to watch as far as podcasts within the hip hop community. That's one of my favorite podcasts to watch, and I love watching Wallow, and he has a lot of wisdom. I appreciate the way he handled that interview because it could have went very different because Gilly really wasn't digging in there. It seemed like Gilly wanted to play it safe, and I like the fact that it seems as though Wallow really the G, if you ask me. He has no respect for person. He like, look, you here, we're gonna ask you the hard questions, so we're gonna be respectful with it, and we're gonna get into some things, and that's what he did. So I can appreciate, hats off to Wallow for that. Y'all over there, $1 Million Worth of Game, man, keep on doing y'all thing. It's dope. Just because somebody do one thing that you don't like don't mean that you gotta write off the whole thing. But within our community, we do got to hold each other accountable. So it ain't number love, but we do have to hold each other accountable and say, hey, you know what, that ain't right. We ain't gonna do it like this. And the next time something like that happen, hopefully nothing like this to an extent where we're having a conversation surrounding somebody losing their life, but any other type of situation that's kind of filled with drama where we're trying to work out the kinks and figure things out and come back together. You could use this as an opportunity to study and say, hey, when it comes to them adding more fuel to the fire, we ain't gonna let that happen on our platform. We're gonna cut that out and keep it moving. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, I came on here to say what I had to say, speak my speech. I hope y'all was picking up what I was putting down. If you're out there listening, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video. Also, we do have a hip hop podcast, Hip Hop School Past and Present podcast that airs every Friday at 8 p.m. Central Time. Head over to that channel, subscribe to that as well. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'm about to tune out. Y'all have a good one.
I hope you black men were paying attention. I hope you black men were paying attention.